Hey everybody, how you doing today? My name is Sean from the Canadian Brewing Channel. Today we're going to talk about souring beers and how to do it. I had a comment, someone asked about this on my raspberry sour tasting, and so I thought I'd do this small video on how I do it. There are two ways that I know of that you can sour. One you can do in probably a month and a half, the other one can take up to a year or more. The difference is one of them has way more complex flavors than the other one, but you know what? Sours, just the way they are, the way I make them, I love them. They're nice and tart, they're a great summer drink. So, start with what I use to sour. I use lactobacillus, which is a bacteria, and it's all around us, it's everywhere. But you can do it by taking grain and soaking it in water for about 100 degrees or more for a little bit, but I don't do it that way. I actually go to the store and I buy lactobacillus already made for me. It's easier that way. So what you'd want to do is, it's called kettle souring. This is the easy way to do it. You will first do your mash like you normally would, and if I'm doing a sour, I usually like to mash around 148 to 147 degrees, a little bit on the lower side so it doesn't have as much malt flavor to it. And the grain bill that I would use normally would be a Pilsner. I put like maybe 10 pounds of Pilsner, 1 or 2 pounds of wheat malt. You want it to be a light beer, okay? You're not going to put any hops in it, not right now, because hops can actually kill off or hinder the growth of the lactobacillus. So you would go through your normal mash out. You would then heat up the wort to a boil for about 15 minutes, and then you want to lower the temperature down to around 90 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you're going to pitch your lactobacillus. Now, the lactobacillus is non-aerobic, which means it does not like oxygen. It doesn't like it at all. It's like the opposite of your yeast. When you first pitch your yeast, you want to have oxygen in there, right? The lactobacillus needs to have no oxygen at all. I have CO2 at hand, so I actually, in a carboy, once I put the once I put my wort in there, I will purge out the oxygen or the air with my CO2. And at that point, I will then pitch my lactobacillus, and I'll let it sit there usually for about a week to a week and a half. If you don't have CO2, what you can do is in your fermenting bucket, people will take saran wrap and actually push it down and lower it right over top, touching your wort, because you don't want any oxygen or air in there at all. Once it has it has soured, I go down to about 3.4 or 3.3. You're going to need a pH meter for this, or you can take tasting samples, which some people will do until they find that taste they like. Me personally, 3.4. Now, one step I just realized I forgot to tell you is before you pitch your lactobacillus, the wort, you should use lactic acid to bring it down to about a 4.5 pH. That way the lactobacillus has it's ahead of itself already. It doesn't take as long to sour. Okay. Once it's down to that right amount of pH, you're then going to put it into your boil kettle, and you're going to kill off the lactobacillus by boiling. And at this point, you're now going to want it to be treated just like any other wort. You can add your hops. You can boil it up to an hour, usually is what I do. But remember, the hops, you don't want it to be high alpha acid. We're talking maybe 6, 7 on the alpha acid range. Old hops are actually recommended to use like they've been sitting around a year or so, because they've mellowed out a little bit. Once you've finished with that, you take your wort, you cool it down to your 68 degrees, which you normally would. Pitch your yeast. I use the USO5 because I wanted a nice clean ferment. And if you're gonna make one like I did, which was raspberry, I'm gonna make an apricot. I wait about 3 or 4 days after fermentation has started. Once the high krausen has dropped down, then I throw in my either my raspberries or my apricots. I let them sit there for another week, and I let it finish out fermenting down to a gravity of as low as you can get, 10, 10, 10, 15, and at that point you can then either bottle it or keg it. Now, I'll just touch on the other way of souring. You've got Saccharomyces, which is your regular yeast. Then there's Brettanomyces. Brettanomyces is a wild yeast, and it gives all sorts of different aromas and flavors. I've never had one, so I can't really comment on it yet. Then you've got your lactobacillus, which I talked about. You got Pediococcus. Pediococcus is the bacteria, just like lactobacillus is. And that is used when you're doing the longer ferments or sourings as well. There's you can go and you can actually purchase a combination of these, which has Saccharomyces and it has Brettanomyces, it has lactobacillus, and it has pediococcus. And all four of these in conjunction will work through months and months, up to a year. Some people wait for up to 2 years to get all of these different kind of funky aromas and flavors that they want. So that's the skinny of it that I can tell you right now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any other questions, please leave a comment down below, and I'm glad to answer any questions, because homebrewing is about learning. Thanks a lot, guys, for coming here. It's Sean, Canadian Brew Channel, signing off. Have a great day.